What a beautiful day it is today. Good morning to you, God's people. Today's topic is total surrender. And our text is Genesis 41, 15 and 16. I read from NIV. Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. I cannot do it, Joseph replied to Pharaoh, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires. We see the moon as a bright object in the sky. Everyone admires it. But guess what? It does not produce its own light. It reflects the sunlight that falls on its surface. The amount of sunlight reflected by the moon, and therefore its brightness, depends on the position of the moon in its orbit around the earth. This simply means that if the moon is well positioned, it will reflect more sunlight. Or if it is not favorably positioned, it will reflect lesser sunlight. In today's story, Joseph was well positioned to reflect God's light. When Pharaoh told him that he had heard that he could interpret dreams, Joseph simply said, I cannot. Only God interprets dreams, and God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires. In other words, he positioned himself to reflect God's light. And what did we see? Joseph was shining all through from then on. Joseph was raised to the position of the prime minister, and he began to shine because he was reflecting God's light. He could have boasted, that's true, king. I interpreted the butler's dream, and I interpreted the baker's dream. I also interpreted my own dreams. But no, he decided to surrender everything to God, knowing fully well that when we surrender to God, the only way we go is up. Joseph did not steal the light, he reflected it. He understood that promotion isn't about pride, but purpose. It was his surrender that made him ever relevant and useful to God. You want to be relevant, you want to be useful, surrender everything to Jesus. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 6 says, so humble yourself under the mighty power of God, and at the right time he will lift you up in honor. New Living Translation. Joseph humbled himself, and at the right time, God lifted him up in honor. Honor only comes with total surrender to God. When we steal what belongs to God, when we take the honor due to Him, when we take the glory due to Him, God cannot share His glory with any man. When you surrender it all to Him, He lifts you up in honor, and the only place you will find yourself is up. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 says something very interesting about the moon. It says, and God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. The greater light is the sun and the lesser light is the moon. This means that God regards the moon as a light, even though it reflects His light from the sun. And this simply means that God sees you as somebody, especially when you get everything from God. Another lesson from that verse is that the greater light rules the day or governs the day, while the lesser light governs the night. It means that the moon is a governor. You are that moon. You are a governor. You are somebody. You are light. God has made you to rule over the night. What is that night? The people around you, the world we live in, the wicked world. God wants you to shine as light in the midst of a crooked generation. Are you shining the light of God? Have you surrendered everything to Jesus? Surrender to Him today, and you will have every reason to be grateful you did. God bless you till I come your way next week. Bye for now.